Hey guys, for this video we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Gotoh SD90 MG-T locking tuners. So this is the tuners in question here. So as you can see, they're the Kluson style or Kluson style tuners. They have the locking mechanism that most modern locking tuners have, which is the wheel that you turn to lock the string in place or turn to release the string. Gotoh offers a different version of these that does not have the wheel that look like a regular stock Kluson style tuner on the back, and then on the top of the tuning post itself there's a place to tighten the string down or tighten the locking mechanism to hold the string in place. I went with these because my Sir has locking tuners that uses that wheel system, and it's given me no problems whatsoever. Most modern locking tuner systems use that, so I figured if it works, it works. I don't really care how the tuner looks on the back of the guitar, if it looks, vintage correct or whatever. So they're going to go on to this guitar. This is my beloved Gibson Es 330. It's a 59 reissue. 330 is kind of always my dream guitar. I just love this thing to death. Fully hollow, P90s, fantastic. Probably the best feeling neck of any guitar I own. Size-wise, it's just that really nice 59 shape. As you can see, this guitar's got a Bigsby on it, so that's part of the reason why. Well, kind of the main reason why I got these new machine heads in the first place. Bigsbys are kind of a pain to restring. Aftermarket, you can buy something called a Vibramate spoiler, I want to say, that goes on the back here that makes your stringing easier. I've never seen one in person, but in pictures they don't look that great. I don't think they look that great. I think this guitar is just gorgeous, and so not really into that. And then also with the Bigsby, the tuning stability is not as good as other systems in my experience. With a proper setup, they can work for sure. This guitar, when I first got it, did not stay in tune very well. Then I had kind of some nut work done, and it's been pretty good. I would say it's never let me down live, but if I were to just take it and do this, it's probably going to go out a little bit. Now, what I have noticed is that between string changes, the guitar goes from rock solid in tune for the entire life of that string set. Then the next pack of strings I put on, the tuning is a little less stable, and then change strings again, and it's back to being rock solid. I was doing some research. This is my first guitar with the Bigsby. I was doing some research online, and I read that the way the strings are wrapped around can really affect the tuning stability. I've read people say that you need to wrap the strings up, and then I've also read you need to wrap the strings down so that they end at the bottom of the tuning post going up to the nut, or at the top. I've read a lot of conflicting things on all of that, which is fine. I could experiment, whatever. But in addition to the guitar being tough to restring, I play 10 to 52 strings. So this is a high string is a 10, low string is a 52, which means that these lower strings are quite fat. And with the vintage style Kluson tuners here, there's not really any room for the string to go for these bigger strings, and they actually get in the way of each other between the A and the E right here. If you don't restring it perfectly, they will catch. And so there's just it's not ideal back here. I can't really restring them how I normally would because there's not enough room on the post itself. And then also, there's this friction between the E and the A string here. And so, there's kind of some things that could be fixed potentially with a good set of new tuners. So I figured I'd give it a shot. I got nothing to lose, and you don't have to modify the guitar at all to put these on. I would look up before you buy them to make sure it's true for your guitar, but from what I've read, the reissue historic style Gibson guitars, these will fit in without needing any changes. So I guess we'll find out about that in a little bit here. But so we're going to go ahead and install them. This is real quick what they look like in the back. They are, like I said, it's a 59 reissue, so they're a little aged. These are new and they're nickel, so these will be shinier. You also notice that the actual button on the end is more yellow on the reissue and then more green on here. I have another guitar with the same style tuners, 59, or excuse me, a 64 reissue Gibson Es 345, and its tuners are also a little more green like this. So I'll do a quick little comparison of the three in a little bit here. And yeah, so let's go ahead and install them, see how easy it is, and then we'll restring it, and I'll give my first impressions. All right, so let's go ahead and open these up. So there you see the name, SD90 MG-T. Let's go ahead and take one out and look at it. So there you can see the wheel that you turn to lock the mechanism in place. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there it's currently locked. Let's see if it... So there you can see it going down. So that's what's going to lock the string in place. It's got a couple little marks on it. Kind of see there. The keys themselves, like I said, they're a little different than both of my Gibsons that have the Kluson style. These are nowhere near as transparent as the ones on my ES 345, and then they're also more green than the ones on the 330. So I bring the 330 in here. So you can kind of see the difference between the two. So it's not a huge difference, but it is definitely a difference there. So it's more green, but they both look very similar regarding like the little swirls inside. You can kind of see it right there. They just kind of have very small little, there you go. So very similar patterns with that, and also fairly opaque, so you can't really see through it that well. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and take the strings off of the Gibson and go ahead and install these. All right, so I took the strings off. Now let's go ahead and compare the regular stock Kluson style to the Gotoh here. Yeah, so now looking at them right now, obviously these are aged nickel, so they're less shiny. This is pretty shiny. This will look like that eventually. Also, you can see how much longer and skinnier this part is versus the stock right there. I was not aware that it would be that different. Kind of see them on the same plane there. So we'll have to see how that looks, but it's definitely longer and definitely skinnier than stock. Yeah, so hopefully it doesn't look too goofy. We'll see. I'm not, opposed to taking these off and selling them if I don't like it. However, I got these for function over form for sure. So let's go ahead and take off the stock tuner, and hopefully this will slide right in. Okay. All right, let's slide it out. Okay, that's what it looks like, the stock one. Let's compare the weight. I don't have an actual scale on me, but I'm just holding them in my hands. Honestly, they feel the same. Actually, the stock one feels a little heavier. It feels a little more solid. Like I said, I don't have a scale to check for sure, but they're definitely, the locking one is definitely not heavier feeling. You can kind of see them side by side there. And then the actual part itself, it's actually shorter on the Gotoh. Interesting. Okay. So I'm not sure how well this is going to work. Maybe it won't work. Let's find out. All right, so let's go ahead and slide it in there. Interesting. Okay. So it will not fit through the stock bushing. You can kind of see it in there. I read online that it would, but it is not going to fit, it appears. Okay, so let's try and just push it out. Okay, so there's the stock bushing, aged as you can see. So that went out super easy. So we can kind of get a feel of what it would look like. So that looks fine. Interesting. Okay, that's a little bit of a bummer, but it was super easy to take this out. So let's grab one of the ones that's provided. All right, so this is the provided bushing here. I'm going to go ahead and try and pop this in. It should just go in easily. If it doesn't, I'm not going to do it. All right, let's see. I have to go the other side of the camera here. All right, let's come back in a moment. I'm gonna have to check this out a little better without the camera in my face. All right, so I was able to get the new Gotoh bushing in there. You can see it's right there. It's a little shinier. This is the stock one, again, aged. And then this is the Gotoh. Nickel as well, but obviously not aged. So you can see there's some slight differences in them. And then the biggest difference is that the Gotoh one, or the stock one I should say, is tapered. Hopefully you can see that. Tapered on the end there. Whereas the Gotoh one is not, which makes it harder to install, but it did go in fairly easily, just using my fingers to push it in. And I did push it back out using like a socket through there. And it came out fine, and I was able to put the old one back in fine, and it wasn't loose or anything. So I think it's safe and still reversible, but that is kind of annoying. From the website, I read that it should fit, but I guess, I don't know. For whatever reason, it does not fit this guitar. So, but apparently most other Gibsons it will fit. Anyways, let's go ahead and install the machine head here. So go ahead and pop that in. Grab a screw. I'm going to reuse the old ones. I compared the old and the new screws, and they're basically identical, except for the new ones are a little longer. So I don't need it longer for sure. All right, so that's on there pretty good now. One thing is that the bushing itself on the other side does not, I could not get it to sit flush. The headstock is angled. Obviously, a Gibson headstock is angled like that. And so it's sticking up a little bit on the back end of the headstock. The stock bushings appear to be doing the same, but it's much slighter than the Gotoh one. So you'll never be able to see that unless you're looking for it. But yeah, it doesn't fit perfectly. Now we can kind of see, again, the color difference and also the length difference and the thinness. Turning the key itself, it's fairly tight. And, oh yeah, it's way tighter than the stock one. It feels like the stock one, if it has a string hooked up to it. You can see actually turning the locking system itself, which is interesting. I'm just kind of figuring all this out as I go with you guys. So give my true first impressions. The fit seems fine. It definitely sticks out longer. Kind of see there. So it's definitely a little bit longer than the stock ones. let's flip it over here. All right, so there's the new one. You can see it's nice and shiny. Kind of angle it a little bit better here. The actual surface area it takes up is about the same. It looks very similar. It's got more of a rounded top, and then whereas these are flat topped. And yeah, I don't think I'll be able to show the bushing itself sitting up over. Yeah, that'd be really tough to do. But anyways, let's go ahead and try restringing up. Oh, actually, here, let me do this. This is something else I noticed. There we go. Okay, you can kind of see how the stock bushing is not completely flat against the headstock there. They're all kind of raised just a touch. I don't know if you even will be able to see that. And then the Gotoh, you can kind of see there is the same kind of thing. So not perfect. Also, you can see how much smaller the head is. However, kind of see there. So the head itself is smaller, but the hole looks to be about the same height as the stock one. So these just have a taller head, or a taller post itself. So the post for the Gotoh one is shorter, but the hole opening lands about the same place. The hole opening is also a lot smaller. Turn this. Looks like it's smaller than the stock one, but I already checked and it will fit the 52 gauge low E string. So that's a pretty big string set and it will fit that. Okay, so let's go ahead and try restringing this one right here, and let's see how that goes. Okay, so using these Elixir NanoWeb 10 to 52 strings. They're by far my favorite set of strings for a Gibson style guitar. We're going to be doing the G string here. I'm going to go attach it to the Bigsby on the other end, and then we'll pull it through. Okay, so I've got the string held on with a capo. Restringing a guitar, the Bigsby is just such a pain. But yeah, so we'll just take it and fish it through here, kind of straighten it out a little bit. And then I'm just going to pull it tight and then go ahead and tighten up the locking mechanism. Okay, now I'm going to start tightening it actually. And then I'm going to take the capo off. And there you go. It looks like it's holding it really well. Feels super solid. Let's go ahead and tune it up to pitch and see where the string lands, how far it'll go. All right, so I've got 3 done. So this side is the Gotoh, the new Gotoh SD90 MG-Ts installed. Then this side is the stock Klusons. You can see the color difference and also the extra length. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see, but I'll kind of go over. So you can't really tell they're that much longer. You go up, you can see that they poke out a little bit. It's not extreme. I mean, if I'm fairly centered, then they look pretty close. I thought I was really going to hate the skinnier looking rod, but you can't really tell. Let's go ahead and flip it over. All right, so here we have the 3 side by side. So yeah, you can notice the differences pretty easily on the back. They both fit the same footprint, so you don't really see any of the outline from the old tuners. They're both about the same size. At the base, I'm gonna finish restringing the whole guitar. All right, I've got all of the strings on now. It was super easy restringing it. I think it looks fine. I definitely don't think it looks better than it did stock, but it looks fine. The extra length of the tuning pegs doesn't really look out of place. They look normal. They look like, you know, regular Klusons. So yeah, so that's it. Let me flip the guitar around so you can see the back side. So there it is. And then you can see how they work. It still catches, let me see if I can do it like this. There we go. It still catches right there. So that's still kind of an issue. But we'll see if there's any problems with it. I tuned it up, stretched the strings in, and used the Bigsby, and it seemed to hold tune great. And I haven't even added the lubricant here yet. So yeah, I'm optimistic, and yeah, I will do a follow-up how it works going forward. I'm going to play the guitar a lot, and I'll give you guys an update. All right, thanks for watching. So I've had the tuners on for a couple days now. I play the guitar pretty much non-stop since I installed them. I use it for rehearsal and practice exclusively, so that I can kind of get better impressions of how I feel about them. So yeah, so you can kind of see them on there. They're pretty shiny, but I think they look pretty good actually. The back of them I quite like. It kind of reminds me of I don't know, it's like a mix between a classical kind of open gear tuner look plus more modern. I forgot to mention that this guitar actually comes with the wrong tuners in the first place from the factory. This is a 59 reissue, but it doesn't come with the button style tuners. It comes with the Klusons, which is wrong. So also this guitar is red, and they never made a red 330 and 59 as far as I know. And I have no idea about the Bigsby. So this guitar is certainly not super historically accurate. But the most glaring thing other than the color was the tuners themselves. So that's why I don't really care that much to swap them out. They were wrong in the first place. Anyway, so I feel like I kind of have a better sense of the tuners. They feel pretty much the same as the old ones. The ratio is 15:1, I think. So pretty standard. I'm going to go ahead and play something, use the bar, and we'll see if it holds a tune, and then I'll talk more about my feelings regarding that. Okay. That's a pretty kind of standard use of a Bigsby. You don't really go too crazy with a Bigsby, at least I don't. Most people don't. And yeah, I think it's in tune. Sounds in tune. If I check with the tuner, it's probably a little out, but if it sounds good playing an E chord, then you're probably fine, especially live. Alright, sorry, I had some technical difficulties. So yeah, as I was trying to say, regarding tuning stability, I don't think they really helped much. The guitar stays in tune about the same as it did before. Normal Bigsby motions, it'll stay in tune relatively well. If you really go at it though, it'll go out. Pretty standard stuff in my experience with Bigsbys. So if you're looking for, you have a guitar that doesn't stay in tune, it has like a Bigsby or tremolo system, lock-in tuners is not going to be, the magic bullet that's going to save everything. They might help a little bit. Mainly it's just to help with restringing. Yeah, I think they look good. They look, they don't look cheap. They feel high quality, which is always good. I don't know if I'm going to keep them on the guitar or not. I'm going to just play it and kind of play it by ear, see how I like them going down the road. I'll leave by. All right, chill. Yeah, so thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And then if you're wondering about the tones for the little excerpt thing I did, it's just the Helix using the exact same patches in my very first YouTube video. So if you go to that video, it's the Matchless Dr. Z stereo video. And if you go in the description, there's a link to download the patch. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.